All right, gamers, welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today we're going to be asking some hard questions. Thank you very much for tuning in, and this is regarding Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Yes, your weekly party pooper has shown up to give us some dire considerations surrounding this game. Anyways, this is usually how I roll. I remember, after Gotham Knights came out, I started seeing a bunch of people show up telling me that I hyped up Gotham Knights when I have dozens of videos just like this, actually putting the game through the litmus test and seeing how fans are considering it so that people are not blinded by hype. But some of them were blinded by hype. Some of them maybe misconstrued the fact that I appreciated the game, that I was actually hyping the game up. No, I don't do that. We use critical thinking in this community. This is why this community has thrived to be one of a more solid set of gamers. So let's jump right in. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is being developed by Rocksteady. This is the biggest aspect, or I would say for some folk, the thread that is giving everyone the reason to look at this game in a better light than, some have. Because after seeing that picture of the so-called Battle Pass, it really put a dampener on the entire perception of the game so far. And I wanted to ask a few questions because this came out with one of my audience members who were talking about Suicide Squad, and they said Suicide Squad looks better than Gotham Knights, and I do agree from a photorealistic perspective, yes, but it doesn't seem to me to be much unique. As somebody who works with Unreal Engine 4, which is the engine that's developing both games, you can make your game look however it is you want to look. It doesn't mean that one developer is better than the other. In a sense, it just means one decided to go ahead and showcase their video game in regard to how they wanted their art style to go. But different argument for a different time. I'm sure somebody's going to take, some kind of a question to that statement, but I would enjoy for, to have that conversation, bring it so we can actually bring it out in a different context. But here's the thing. Who owns Rocksteady? Is it the shareholders? Is it the publishing company? And who actually, in a sense, dictates or mandates what Rocksteady does? Is it the gamers? Is it the shareholders? Is it the executives? Is it the publishing company as a whole? Once you answer these two questions, I think you're going to be much better at gauging and judging video games, or for the most part, you're going to have a better time engaging in the new gaming scene that we have today. You see, the new gaming scene that we have today is very different from your good old games that you played in the past. I think this is why CD Projekt Red named their online store Good Old Games Store because they went to take gaming on PC back to where it was, where you could have your video game files without any DRM issues. So if you don't want DRM in your video games, buy them on Good Old Games, right? That's kind of what they did. And I think many have not necessarily come to accept this realization that Warner Brothers does own Rocksteady and will dictate, and I'm sure is now much more active in the dictating of the creative prowess or creative direction of the studio. Why? They haven't come out to say otherwise. And if you may be thinking that this is not something that a lot of publishers usually say, I basically want to point your attention to the studio that actually developed Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and that's developing the sequel. That studio was acquired by Microsoft, their Xbox division, and the studio head said, they approached him and said, hey, we would love for you to come work with us under the Microsoft banner, and we're going to give you 100% full creative control of your franchises, of whatever it is you want to make. And that's how the relationship was started. Now, that's a different relationship in a sense, but I'm certain that the Rocksteady-Warner relationship is much different from that. And Warner seems to have control because this is a licensed game. This is a game that the characters are solely owned by Warner. Hence, Warner can actually dictate what it is they want to see. And by Warner, I'm talking about the executives that are in charge. So whenever people argue and say Rocksteady is going to deliver, I hope you understand that you're talking about the Rocksteady that is actually under the control of Warner Media. This is the Rocksteady you're referring to. You're not referring to Rocksteady as an independent studio. This is a studio that is actually, in a sense, yes, they have some creative license, but at the end of the day, the green lighting or the go-ahead has to be given by Warner Brothers overall. And this brings us to the question and the conversation of the recent games that we've been seeing, looking at how things have gone and looking at, possibly the direction of licensed games, you can maybe, cite, say, Gotham Knights, or maybe you can even cite Hogwarts Legacy. I think Hogwarts Legacy might be a very good one, because people might say, well, Hogwarts Legacy is going to be a single player game. Hogwarts Legacy is going to do this, and this. But the truth is, the license for Harry Potter and that world and the likeness thereof is not exclusively Warner's. So even if they had any vested interest designing their video games, that like the way they've designed the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, maybe to have a battle pass and to have all that, is more than likely not going to be something they want to pursue. Because if they made Hogwarts Legacy monetized to the extent of, say, Suicide Squad, in terms of online multiplayer, ongoing whatever wizarding thing, they'd have to share those profits with J.K. Rowling. But if they did it with their IP and items in terms of the licenses that they own, they get to keep the profits 100% to themselves. So there is an incentive to see games like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Multiversus, which pretty much have a plethora of characters that DC and Warner Brothers, own solely, be taken into these live service games. And once you start seeing that, I'm sure you're probably going to be able to kind of go with whatever it is that you expect. Now, this is not to say that Warner Brothers is using Rocksteady as robots. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this is something people must consider, but at the end of the day, Rocksteady will be able to deliver a quality game within the boundaries and parameters that have been given to them. Now, you need to address this, and you need to come to reason with the fact that if you're saying Rocksteady is going to deliver, what you're saying is Rocksteady is going to deliver Warner Brothers' vision. And the vision of the executive in charge of the 11 game studios is that they will take their games to the live service market, because it's been phenomenally profitable for studios and developers and publishers like Epic Games. It's been profitable for Ubisoft. It's been profitable for Rockstar with their GTA and Red Dead Redemption franchises, going online and making them tons and tons of money. And so Warner wants to have its own share of this big, huge cake. So when you kind of think about it that way, you're able to kind of reconcile exactly what it is you could expect. And anything better than that will probably be a surprise to you. And I think this is why Gotham Knights surprised me. And I'll go ahead and delve into this very briefly, because it's something that we have to actually, pretty much pay very close attention to. Because when Gotham Knights was actually on its way out, I remember making these videos. I talked about how Gotham Knights looked like a Ubisoft game, and I even pointed out that the creative director of Gotham Knights is one who actually worked on the Splinter Cell games and worked at Ubisoft. Many of you may or may not know that. Jeff Eleanor, the game's director as well, also worked in Ubisoft, and then you also had some Square Enix developers as well, in terms of the production and all of the above. So seeing those, very similar elements, it wasn't hard for me to know and expect exactly what the game was going to be about. Also, seeing that many have also said the game possibly had some live service elements, it was very easy to see that from the executive direction, this was probably something that the game possibly wanted to have. But many of you already know that Gotham Knights faced so many technical issues, making it a live service game like Avengers was probably not possible with the time they had and with the change of generations of consoles. If you think about it, they were in the middle of development for the PlayStation 4. They probably had a smaller scope than the PS5 came out, and then their vision could not be executed on the PS5 regardless, without any problems. And so you had the performance issues because of the open world being run locally, not using a server model like Ubisoft games do. And so you had all these complications with Gotham Knights, where they were trying to execute something Ubisoft has done successfully, but were not wanting to follow the exact methodology, and that's why the game pretty much had its own issues. I can go into those technical aspects and pretty much break them down, but I think it's not pertinent for this discussion right now. So thinking about that, just know that that's what's going to be going down with Suicide Squad. I make this video, or these set of videos and more to come, to temper down your expectations. I don't want anyone to have any buyer's remorse and then come take it out on me at the end of the day. Well, some will, but at the end of the day, I'm going to basically have videos like these ready to go so that they'll know that, for me, it's already a done deal. I know what to expect, so I've already reconciled exactly how I'm going to approach a game like this. But it seems like for the most part, gamers have to be told to get their heads out of the sand. Sometimes, not you, I'm not talking about you, but most of the gamers out there, in order for them to see the reality of what it is that they're trying to engage, or what it is that they're excited for. Thanks so much for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.